Hello, my name is Kevin Zimney, and this is my presentation on cybersecurity career simulation. Here we will demonstrate the following skills, which include installing and configuring various Linux virtual machines, configuring network interfaces, creating user accounts, transferring files with FTP, using network tools such as Nmap and Wireshark, gathering information to create security baselines, followed by a summary and conclusion of documentation. In this scenario, you have been hired by an IT company as an IT subject matter expert. Management has a client who wants to upgrade their IT systems, but the client has a limited budget and no more physical space to install new equipment. As a result, you suggest implementing virtual machines instead of more hardware to help reduce costs and to meet the client's operational needs. Part of the upgrade includes installing a firewall, a PC for the CEO, internal web server, an internal DNS server, and some Linux machines for monitoring and conducting cybersecurity related tasks. Once a new network is installed, you will document your configurations and create security baseline by scanning for open ports. Here's an overview. We will install and configure various Linux machines, configure network interfaces, create user accounts, transfer files using FTP, and then we'll also use network tools such as Wireshark or Nmap. And here you can see a diagram of what our network looks like. In the center there, we have our router firewall, and then three networks attached to that. You have the trusted network on the left-hand side there, which involves a Kali Linux machine, as well as a CEO PC. On the right-hand side, you have a untrusted PC that will be used to simulate a man-in-the-middle attack. On the bottom, you have the DNS server and the web server. Now, you can note that each one of these networks has a different prefix for the IP address. On the left-hand side, we have a 192. We have 192 addresses for the trusted network. For the DMZ, we have 10.200 addresses, and for the untrusted network, we have 172 addresses. So, installing and configuring various Linux virtual machines. First, you're going to navigate to the Downloads folder and unzip the appliance files. You start the VirtualBox Manager, then go to File, Import Appliance, select File with Overview and with the Overview button. You'll navigate to the folder with the unzip.ova file and hit Select. Open the Settings tab and select Include all network adapter MAC addresses under MAC address policy. Click Finish and allow for the machine to import. This will take a few minutes. Repeat this process for each of the machines. Here are some pictures of what that will look like. On the left-hand side there, you'll see once you hit File, you go down to Import Appliance, and then that'll take you to the second screenshot on the right-hand side, where it shows where you get to select the source, which would be the local file system in this case. And then you go to the file that you have the unzipped .ova file in. Now, after you get to that point, you want to open up that Settings tab right below that, and in that particular menu, you will see the MAC address policy, the MAC address policy. Make sure that you include all network adapter MAC addresses. This is very important. Here is an overview or a picture of what it will look like when you do have all your machines installed. One thing that you'll notice is that at the bottom for our router firewall, we do have the trusted network, the DMZ, and the untrusted network attached. Configuring network interfaces, changing IP settings. On the CEO PC, click Show Apps. Click on Utilities, and then click on Advanced Network Configuration. Make sure you select your Ethernet adapter, go to Settings, select IPv4, delete the existing static IP address. Having a static IP can cause issues if it's not synced up to the network properly. Static IP addresses are usually for like printers and things of that nature, whereas a CEO PC is best off using DHCP. Make sure you switch the IP mode from manual, which is your static IP, to automatic, which is your DHCP. And then make sure you click Save and Apply. You're going to want to verify the IP and check the connectivity with the DNS server and the web server. Click the network icon in the top right corner, click Wired, go to Wired Settings, and now that DHCP is enabled, you can see that the new IP address is a 192 address. Click Apply, open a terminal, and confirm that you have a connection by using the ping command, followed by the IP of the machines that you want to ping or talk to. In this case, the first machine that you're going to want to try to talk to is the default gateway. To do this, you type in ping 192.168.0.1. You also want to do this for the DNS server, which would be ping.10.200.0.1, and the web server, which would be ping 10.200.0.12. You can also use the nslookup command to type in nslookup www.seclab.net, and then you can also ping it by typing in ping www.seclab.net. If you get a response, this means that you have a connection to the server. Another way to confirm this would be to open up the browser. In the browser address bar, you would type in www.seclab.net, and the page should now display without error. Here are some examples of what we'd be looking at in this particular process. Once you get to the wired network settings, you'll see that there is an IPv4 menu. Go into there and make sure that automatic DHCP is enabled. Once this is done, you can go back over to details, which would be on that right-hand picture there on the left-hand side of that top menu. Click on details, and you'll see that you have a 192 address. In this particular instance, it is 192.168.0.23. Here are examples of once you have connectivity, your ability to ping each individual machine that is on the network. On the left-hand side, we have the DNS server, and you can see that all three of these are being run through the CEO VirtualBox. So on the top, or on the left-hand side, you have the DNS server. So you type in ping 10.200.0.12, and you get a response. That means that you have connectivity to the domain name service server. In the middle there, you have the web server. You type in ping and the web server's address, in this case, ping 10.200.0.11. Given that you have a response, that means that you now have connection to the web server. Now you also have the default gateway. In this particular instance, you type in ping 192.168.0.1. Seeing that you have a response, that means you have connection to all three of these machines. On the left-hand side there, you can now ping www.seclab.net. If you get a response, that means that you have access to that website. And you can confirm this by opening up a browser and typing in the address bar http://www.seclab.net. If your connection is successful, you will see this screen. Now here we have the machines with their operating system, their IP addresses, and their default gateway. So for example, the CEO workstation is running on Ubuntu 24.04.3 LTS with the IP address of 192.168.0.23. And the same rules follow for each of the following machines. Now, we're going to be gathering information to create a security baseline. First, we're going to identify the operating system version, patch level, and default services running on the system. We're going to collect user accounts, groups, and permission levels to understand who has access. Document the network settings such as IP configuration, open ports, and active protocols. Inventory all installed applications and determine which ones are approved or unapproved. Review system security settings, including password policies, audit logging, and firewall rules. Verify existing security controls such as antivirus, encryption, and endpoint protection. And then we're going to record any vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, or strange system behavior. Documentation is everything. Now here is a demonstration of this process. Okay, so here we are the toolbox manager. After all of our machines have been set up, we have the web server, the router firewall, the CEO workstation, the DNS server. Click on the router firewall. This is your gateway IP, but you have networks set up. We have the trusted, the DMZ, and the untrusted. As of right now, we currently have the DNS server running on the DMZ part of the network, as well as the web server. The CEO workstation is on the trusted side of the network, and so is our virtual functionality that we have running up the current moment. So let's see if we can connect to the DNS server to the CEO workstation. If you're doing so, you will click on the show. Alright, so the first thing I would like to do then would be to open up a terminal and ping the gateway IP, which would be ping 192.168.0.1. Alright, the network unreachable. I'll go in the the left now, it said that we are connected to the trusted network part of this virtual network. So what that tells me right off the bat is that we either do not have an IP or something like that. So if we right click on here and then go down to the wired network, we expand this menu, then go to wired settings. This will bring up your wired connection. So if we hit the code here, right off the bat, it's a 172 address, 172.168.0.134, which immediately tells me that one, it's the wrong classic network, and that at some point they have been static IP7. So to remedy this, we will click on IPv4, as that's the protocol that we're using, of course, IPv6. You can tell because we're using text instead of hexadecimal. So we click on IPv4. You want to make sure that this is set to automatic and not manual. So you click in and click out just to make sure it's 100% and hit apply. Now at this point, we go back into our settings. We now see that we have a 192.168.0.23 address. So by that, let's close out this and see if we can ping that particular IP. We'll ping 192.168.0. Right, so now we are getting a response from the server. So people see it exit that. And now if we go into our DNS server, go back to our DNS server. So I'm going to have us log back in again. You can open terminal here. And now we can see this one has a 10.200.0 values. So let's go back into solution. And as you can see, we're getting an response from the server. So now we are able to talk to the DNS workstation. So from here, what we can do is go straight to the browser, now that we know it's having activity. So that being posted by that kind of server. And I can see that we are active. Okay, so as far as gathering information, some information that is very crucial to gather from time to time is I just want to make sure I did. Okay, is the operating system. So there are two ways to do this when you're using virtual machines. Under VirtualBox, once you have each of your machines highlighted, it will show you on the right-hand side of the window which servers you're running. So for the DNS server, we are running Debian 64-bit with 2 gigs of RAM. And with the CO workstation, we're running Ubuntu with 2 gigs of RAM, 2 gigs of RAM as well. And then under both machines, you will see that towards the bottom, I demonstrated this earlier, that it shows that they are hooked up to internal networks. So method 2 would be to run the command hostname control or hostname CTL to show the operating system once you opened up a terminal. So you can see for each machine here, these are different terminals, and once you type in hostname CTL for Kali, it'll show that you have Kali. For the CEO machine, it'll show you that you are running Ubuntu, and for this one, it'll show you that you're running Debian. Now we're going to learn how to transfer files using FTP. In this particular example, we're going to open up the CEO PC and run a terminal. Once the terminal is open, you're going to type in FTP 10.200.0.12. It's going to ask for a login. For this particular example, the username is Jasper and the password is too hard to guess. Making sure that all your capitalization matches what the credentials are. Once you are logged in, you can type in ls to find the file name. And to download the file, you type get and then the name of the file. In this particular instance, you type in get social media security policy. Very important note, make sure capitalization on the file name is there because that is a very crucial, you match the capitalization because that is crucial. In this particular case, we were looking for, or the file we were looking for is in the home directory. So here we have an example. Once you open up the terminal, you type in FTP 10.200.0.12 connected. Then it's going to ask you to log in. You type in the username, the password. Now note that when you type in the password, it's not going to show up, so you have to type very carefully. Once you are logged in successful, you can type in ls to view the files, and then here are the files that you're looking for. Now to download the file that you're looking for, in this particular case, the social media security policy, you want to type in FTP get social media security policy. Again, being very careful about the capitalization. If that goes through, it will show that transfer is complete. Now we're going to create user accounts. You're going to log directly into the root account. For this particular virtual machine, the CEO account is actually set up as a root user. So there's nothing extra that you need to do for that particular machine. You type in add user and then the name that you want the username to be for the new account. In this case, we're adding a username Sid. So the command would be add user Sid. When prompted, enter the password for the new user. Again, note the password will not display as you type it, so make sure you type carefully. The system will then ask you for additional optional information such as room number, or home phone number, work phone, and any other information that may be useful to an organization. Once you're done, the system will prompt you for confirmation of the new account. You can type Y for yes and N for no. To make sure the creation of the new account was successful, log into the new account using the credentials you just created. Now here's an example of what that will look like. Here we type in add user Sid, adding user Sid. Now they added him to a new group, which is 10.1006, and then it's going to have you enter in a new password. And it's going to have you retype that password. Now note that the password does not show up, so you got to make sure you type it in correctly. And if you do so, the password it'll say password updated successfully. Changing the user information for Sid, entering the following value. Now it's going to ask you for all that additional information. So full name, room number, phone numbers, etc. And then once you're done, it'll ask, is this information correct? Hit Y for yes, N for no. Now we're going to use tools such as Nshark and Nmap and Wireshark. My bad. So for using Nmap, you use Kali Linux and the tools included to monitor port traffic in a network. To view open ports, you want to use Nmap. That's what it's for. So you would type in Nmap and then the address that you want to view open ports on. In this particular instance, we'll be using Nmap and the DNS server on the DNS server and the web server. So you would type in nmap 10.200.0.11 for the DNS server and nmap 10.200.0.12 for the web server. Here are some examples. Once you type in nmap 10.200.0.11, you'll see the DNS server only has one port open. That'd be port 53 running TCP. Now for the web server, for example, now you would type in nmap 10.200.0.12, and you'll see that there are far many more ports open. One thing you might notice is that port 23 is open. That's kind of a big no-no. And port 80 is open as opposed to using port 443. So this one's using an unsecure version of HTTP. Now we're going to use Wireshark. So once you're in Kali, you're going to open Wireshark and start a capture on the network using the main Ethernet port. It'll show up as the option ETH0, ETH0. You'll see some traffic showing up immediately in the display. To find what you're looking for, you use this filter search bar to show only FTP traffic by typing in FTP in the filter bar. Once the packet capture process has begun, open up the CEO workstation. Workstation virtual machine and start FTP uplink by typing FTP 10.200.0.12. You'll then be asked to log in with the password and username. In this case, you'll use the username Jasper and the password Too Hard to Get, just as before. Once you have logged in, switch to your Kali Linux virtual machine and resume your session in Wireshark. You will now see more traffic, including the login process, which will show the username and password that were needed to log in. So in this example, you can see that there is FTP traffic. We filter that using this bar right here. That's how you filter that. You can see the source and the destination. So you can see where a packet's coming from and where a packet's going, the protocol it's using. And here we can see that someone tried to log in. You can see that the username is Jasper. And then the response from the other computer was specify the password. Password is too hard to get. Login successful. You can see all this through Wireshark. In conclusion, setting security baselines ensures that all systems on a network follow a standard for privacy and security. Gathering system information allows organizations to identify weaknesses in their configurations and how to fix them. It's best to understand user account privileges to better regulate and maintain a network. Maintaining system integrity requires double-checking network settings to identify outside threats. Monitoring software installed by all users on the network also allows for prevention of unauthorized access to sensitive information. Testing the security of a network allows you to determine if more security is needed, and holding all machines and users to the same standards helps prevent vulnerabilities and maintain confidentiality in a network. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.